Professional wrestling. It's Rasslin Radio on 610 WIP, all sports radio. Here's your host, Joel Goodhart.
We got a great hour here on Rasslin Radio 610 WIP, which stands for Wrestling is People. And our phone number is in Pennsylvania, 564-0610, New Jersey, 963-0610. And if you're driving around on the Bell Atlantic mobile system, it's a free call by just dialing star 610. And, of course, during the course of the hour, we'll be talking more about Winter Challenge 90, the Super Independent card coming up at Temple University's McGonigal Hall on Saturday, January 27th. And, of course, if you would like to make your reservations now for Winter Challenge 90, our reservation hotline is open. Just dial 745-8315. The phones are being manned right now for your reservations for Winter Challenge 90. And, of course, during the course of the hour, we'll be talking, hopefully, to Paul E. Dangerously. We're going to try to get Bruno Sammartino on the line. We'll be talking to the Rockin' Rebel, one of the new up-and-coming stars in the sport of professional wrestling. We'll also be talking to referee Sal Corrente after that challenge issued here last week from Paul Jones about the possibility of putting that dog collar to Sal Corrente. But we'll talk a little bit about the headlines in the world of professional wrestling, since obviously more is going on than just the independent card here in Philadelphia. And I guess the major news this week, Arn Anderson, the new NWA TV title holder last night. I didn't get the chance to watch it on the Power Hour, but I understand they showed the match between Arn Anderson and the Great Muta, with Arn Anderson walking away victorious and now the new NWA TV title holder, as it seems like the Four Horsemen, once they reunite, they start picking up titles left and right, and Arn Anderson, again, the new NWA TV title holder. Also, major news here in Philadelphia, and this is probably a scoop, and hopefully my sources are correct. SummerSlam 90, for all you WWF fans, will be held live here in Philadelphia at the Philadelphia Spectrum. The tentative date, I believe, was Monday, August 27th. Don't hold me to that one, but SummerSlam 90 looks like it's going to be live from the Philadelphia Spectrum. And, of course, Rasslin Radio and the Squared Circle fan club will be there. Talking about the WWF, it seems that WrestleMania is going to start to build up, and it seems like our prediction of Hogan against the Ultimate Warrior might very well prove to be the match, as in many tag team matches now where it's Hogan and Warrior against another tag team, sometimes Kurt Hennig and Lanny Poffo. Hogan and Warrior seem to be having a little bit of problems in terms of working as a tag team. And, in fact, the Warrior has accidentally clotheslined Hogan a couple of times, so we'll be looking on that. Also, it looks like the Big Boss Man might be in the process of becoming a good guy. We're going to be watching both the Ultimate Warrior and the Big Boss Man, and as they possibly change sides of the aisle in the WWF. And speaking also of the WWF, during the course of the hour, if you're a WWF fan, courtesy of Reinhardt Carpet Outlet, we've got 6 pairs of tickets to next Saturday's WWF card at the Spectrum, a 1:30 show with the main event, the Ultimate Warrior versus Dino Bravo, and, of course, the Colossal Connection against Demolition. Also on the card, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Randy Savage, and a host of others. But courtesy of Reinhardt Carpet Outlet, World Wrestling Federation tickets, if you need them, if you want them, just when you call and let us know, and you got yourself a pair of WWF tickets to the Spectrum next Saturday. Wrestle War 90 is beginning to build up, and maybe I won't get my ice cream after all. It seems that my prediction that Lex Luger would be the next world champ might be put on hold. It seems that the NWA is announcing the main event is going to be including Sting. So we're going to keep on top of that to see what the outcome of those kinds of matches are and what's happening with the NWA as they gear up now to their next pay-per-view, Wrestle War 90. And, of course, we will be there. Also, speaking of the NWA, next weekend is our big trip down to Baltimore. And originally on Saturday afternoon, we were scheduled to have a luncheon with Terry Funk and Chris Cruz. But due to some TV production that Terry Funk has to be at, we've had to cancel Terry Funk. And in his place, I got hold of Rick and Scott Steiner. And next weekend, we will have our luncheon with the Steiners in Baltimore on Saturday and our breakfast with Sting on Sunday. And, of course, if you want to make reservations for that trip as well, 745-8315. And we're going to go to the telephones right now. We'll talk to referee extraordinaire Sal Corrente. And, Sal, welcome to Rasslin Radio. Are you there, Sal?
How's everything up there in Philadelphia?
Right. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing just fine. Just waking up and watching the AWA like every other Saturday morning.
All right. Well, I'll tell you, last week here on the radio, I got an opportunity of interviewing Paul Jones about the upcoming dog collar match here with Junkyard Dog on the 27th of January. And he made some comments that were not the, I guess weren't the best about you. It seems that you were involved in some kind of altercation down in Puerto Rico in one of those matches. Maybe you can kind of fill us in a little bit.
Well, I've been involved in several altercations with Paul Jones down here in the Carolinas and also in Puerto Rico. He's one of these guys, like Larry Zbyszko, who have crossed my path several times, and we just don't seem to be hitting it off just right. I just can't understand it myself. But Paul Jones is still in a heated feud down here with the Boogeyman, and I've crossed paths with him several times in some of these New York City street fights, and Paul Jones has come up on the short end every now and then. He does not really appreciate that. And down in Puerto Rico, the Junkyard Dog really took it to him, and I don't know if he was all ready for that. And of course he needs somebody to blame, so he'll blame it on me. Paul Jones knows that I'm not going to back down from him or anybody else, and he's going to have his hands full with the Junkyard Dog. I don't think that he really needs to waste his time wanting to come after me with that dog collar. If that's what he feels that he needs to do, that's fine. We'll be ready for him. Just call the match the way it's seen. And to be honest with you, the Junkyard Dog has got this dog collar match going. I don't necessarily know who the match favors, because a match like this, Paul Jones, this is his specialty. A match where there are no rules, and there's really nothing that I can do to enforce any type of rules except make a 3 count. And the Junkyard Dog may have put himself in a position that he's really not going to be very happy with.
I'll tell you, Paul Jones came on the air here and basically threatened you with that dog collar, that his goal was not only to take care of JYD, but at the very end also take care of you. And I mentioned to him that the Pennsylvania State Athletic Commission had assigned you as referee for that match specifically because of your experience with dog collar matches and your experience with both Paul Jones and Junkyard Dog, and he's just going to have to live with it.
Yeah, he will have to live with it. And, Paul Jones knows, like I said, I will not back down from him or anybody else. I've kind of assumed this role in the wrestling business today, especially along the independent circuit, of a troubleshooter. And I kind of like that because, the promotions out there, the various promotions and the Gagnes and the AWA and, down there in Puerto Rico, they understand that I'm not afraid of these people. And when they have a situation that needs a little extra special attention, they call me in, and I can appreciate that. I've gotten involved in a few things here these past couple of months with Jerry Lawler down in Florida. The World Wrestling Council had to bring me down there to get this situation settled between Carlos Colon and Steve Strong. And, it feels good to have the respect of the different promotions out there. And the people of Philadelphia have seen me many times. And, of course, we've got Larry Zbyszko on this card, and I've refereed for Zbyszko's matches since I've been in this business. And, Zbyszko knows me just like Paul Jones does. I'm not going to back down from him. It seems that our paths cross time and time and time again. I feel like I'm married to this guy, but Zbyszko's going to have his hands full with David Sammartino. The feelings there. David, backing up his father. I'm sure everybody remembers years back, just like I do. I was a sophomore in high school watching Larry Zbyszko brutalize Bruno Sammartino with that chair. It was one of the scariest things I'd ever seen in the wrestling business at that time. And I'd like to commend you for being the person to get these two back in the same building. It's only the second time in 10 years that Bruno Sammartino and Larry Zbyszko be in the same building. I'm looking forward to it. And I've also been in touch with the Gagnes and Joe Blanchard, AWA president, Bob Ryan, vice president of the AWA. And they've informed me that any fines or any suspensions or anything that I lay on Larry Zbyszko will be accepted by the AWA because of the seriousness of this situation. They realize what's going on in the past between the Sammartino family and Larry Zbyszko. And Zbyszko's just gone too far in his recent matches with Nikita Koloff. And, the AWA is getting a little fed up with him, so they will back up anything that I do down there.
All right, and again, that's Winter Challenge 90 coming to Temple University's McGonigal Hall Saturday, January 27th. 1 o'clock at McGonigal Hall. And Sal, we're looking forward to seeing you. And I know you're going to have a busy day on your hands, but we'll keep an eye on you as well.
Yes, sir. I'm looking forward to seeing you, see all my friends in Philadelphia.
Thank you, Sal.
Okay, everybody. Bye-bye.
All right, take care. And that's Sal Corrente, referee extraordinaire, who will be in Philadelphia for Winter Challenge 90. Again, Temple University's McGonigal Hall, Saturday, January 27th at 1 o'clock. Reservations for tickets, 745-8315. Also, you can call Ticketmaster Outlets, or you can call the Temple Owls Temple University's ticket box office at 787-OWLS, and they'll be able to take care of you. Tickets are available everywhere and anywhere. The West Coast Video, also Reinhardt Carpet Outlet, anywhere and everywhere. You'll be able to get tickets for Winter Challenge 90, again, coming soon, Saturday, January 27th. And while we're talking about Winter Challenge, we still have 1 pair of tickets to give away from last week. Frank Talent, the State Athletic Commissioner, offered 4 pairs of tickets. We were able to give away 3 pairs, so we still have 1 pair to go. And I see we have Charles from Mount Airy, who hopefully will have an answer to the question. Charles, welcome to Rasslin Radio.
Hi, Joel. How are you?
All right, how you doing?
Pretty good.
All right, now the question that was remaining from last week was name 5 of the 6 buildings that the NWA or WWF has wrestled in. Most people can figure out 4, but have been having trouble getting the other 2.
Okay. I'll start from the Spectrum,
Okay.
Civic Center, Veterans Stadium, the Philadelphia Arena, and the class of 1923 skating rink. WWF was there.
I don't know about that.
Bob Backlund against
All right, well, I'll tell you what.
Morocco.
Okay, I'll tell you what we're going to do, because I have a feeling you're right, even though that wasn't originally on my list. Tell you what, we're going to put you on hold.
Okay.
All right, we're going to get Frank Town on the line and see if we can't clarify. If you have the right answer, you're going to get yourself a pair of tickets.
Okay.
Okay.
I remember that match.
You know, after you mentioned it, something tells me that you just very well might be right. So I'll tell you what, we're going to put you on hold, and we'll see if Ike can get Frank Town on the line and see what we can do for you. All right, hold on 1 second. We got him already? Yo, Frank.
Yeah, hello there.
Holy mackerel, that was fast. How you doing?
Boy, I'll tell you, you got some producer there.
Well, is that quick or what?
I'll tell you, he presses a button, here I am.
Oh, we got Charles from Mount Airy, who claims that the class of 1923 skating rink on Penn's campus also held a WWF card.
Did Charles say that?
He did.
Well, then I'll tell you what. Charles is right.
And you didn't give me that answer, huh?
Well, I'll tell you, no, that was one I was going to say for something else, but yeah, he's correct. Well, there's actually 8 places altogether, and that was one of them. And he's correct. The guy has a fantastic memory. That son of a gun, he had to embarrass me.
All right, there we go. Okay.
No, wait, we're not done with you now.
All right, but what we do have Charles on the line, Ike. Do we have Charles get his name and address, and he's the winner of a pair of tickets? All right, go ahead, Frank.
Yeah, Charles, congratulations. Yeah, it's really great. Now, listen, you talk about Winter Showdown. Folks, Winter Showdown is not going to be at Temple McGonigal Hall. Winter Showdown is going to be at my home here when I get the gallon of ice cream. Now, many have already heard him try to back out of this deal.
I didn't back out of the deal, Frank.
Well, it sounds to me like you're trying to
I
back
still
out.
want my gallon of white chocolate macadamia, and I still say Luger's going to win it, even though it looks like Sting might get the first shot.
So the only macadamia you'll ever taste is when you buy it yourself, because believe me, Frank Talent does not buy ice cream for anybody, because I have never lost a bet.
Okay.
Now, you understand that? I mean, let's make this
There's
point
a
clear.
first time for everything.
Now, don't try, you had one of your nitwits call me Friday to try and more or less back out of this deal. And no way will it ever happen. I stand by what I said, and I'm giving, I've even been nice enough to say I just want a gallon of vanilla ice cream because, see, that's what my friends eat. And I take care of my friends. And listen, I'll tell you, Sal, about Corendi. He's going to have a hands full with that junkyard dog and that collar match. But I'll say this, we'll be there. We'll back him up. And as you heard, the AWA is going to back him up, too. That's great.
Well, this match is of major importance to the wrestling
Wait,
world.
excuse me a minute. The ice cream is not here yet. Will you wait?
All right. Good old Frank Town. And what we'll do, we'll take a break. We're going to come back and talk to the infamous Paul E. Dangerously on Rasslin Radio.
Hello, this is Woman, and I listen to Wrestling Radio with Joel Goodhart.
Make your reservations now. Winter Challenge 90, 215-745-8315 for Winter Challenge 90. Wrestle War, Greensboro, North Carolina, Sunday, February 25th. The Squared Circle Fan Club will be ringside Saturday, February 24th through the 26th as we head to Greensboro, North Carolina for Wrestle War 90, The Wild Thing. Dial 745-8315 for Wrestle War, The Wild Thing.
The new year. There's a profitable way to ring it in. Day after day, week after week, month after month. Just use the Discover card all year long, because you will actually earn cash back for every charge, up to 1% back every year based on your annual purchases. Just think, cash back in the new year. Doesn't that have a nice ring to it? It pays to Discover, the card that pays you back.
Hi, this is Chris Cruz, host of Worldwide Wrestling from the National Wrestling Alliance. When I'm in Philadelphia, I listen to Rasslin Radio, where wrestling is Philadelphia.
All right, we're back here at 610 WIP. Our phone number is in Pennsylvania, 564-0610, New Jersey, 963-0610. And if you're driving around on your Belt Atlantic mobile system, it's a free call by just dialing 610. And just want to take this opportunity before we speak to Paulie Dangerously. I want to say hello to one of our major fan club members who's in the hospital today. I want to say hello to Beth. Hope you're feeling better. And we'll see you down at Nazareth Hospital sometime over the weekend. And with me now, the infamous, the one and only. You can spot that laugh a mile away. Paul E. Dangerously.
Let me just ask you this. Now, I mean, I'm not trying to start off on the wrong foot or anything. You know, I've been trying to lead the straight and narrow, but really, did you have to start off your show with Sal Dice Corrente? I mean, here's a kid from Brooklyn. He's gonna stand up to Paul Jones. He's not gonna back down from anyone. This kid is a jerk. And you're going to tell me that he's going to get the Pennsylvania State Athletic Commission and the AWA to back him up against Paul Jones or anybody else that he needs to stand up to because he's the troubleshooting referee because he's 5'6", weighs 140 pounds, soaking wet. Oh, give me a Sal Dice Corrente. He does his Andrew Clay imitation. Comes and goes, hey, how are you? Nice to see you. I'm on Rasslin Radio. Come on.
Well, Paulie, what I wanted to get you on the phone about wasn't Sal Corrente. Sal
wasn't.
Look, Sal has been assigned by the Pennsylvania State Athletic Commission to be in these matches. He's got the support from the AWA if he got assigned to the Zbyszko match. What I did want to get you on the phone about was this upcoming Danger Zone that you're scheduled to have with the
Italian guy, right?
Yeah,
with the Italian guy Sal Corrente, the living legend, right?
Well, not the living legend Sal Corrente, the living legend Bruno Sammartino.
That other Italian guy, probably Sal Corrente's father, as far as I'm concerned. You know, here's the thing that I'm really interested in. You know, I was not going to do this at first. I said, you know, I have nothing to gain. It's really nothing for me to prove with Bruno Sammartino. If you want to look back in history, Bruno Sammartino is the living legend. There's no doubt about it. I'm not going to be one of these people that come out here and say, yeah, Bruno Sammartino was a living legend. Bruno Sammartino was the greatest. He is a legend. I can't take that away from the man, and neither can you or anybody else. Even if I wanted to, I can't. Correct?
Correct.
Right, so you follow me so far. I'm not above your head yet, right?
No.
Okay.
You're getting there, though.
Well, you know, when you're as intelligent as I am, Joel, and when you're as stupid as you are, it's hard not to go over your head. But that's besides the point. You know, everybody out there knows that for years and years and years, ever since I was 13 years old, I was a wrestling photographer. In 1981, when I was 15 years old, I was photographing at the Meadowlands, right up there at the ring with Frank Amato and George Napolitano and Bill Apter and all the photographers from all the wrestling magazines. Bruno Sammartino wrestled his last match, supposedly, against George the Animal Steele. And I looked up in the ring and I said, you know, that is a real man, a guy that can retire and say, hey, I've made enough money, I've won enough championships, I don't ever need to come back. Then, this thing that he calls a kid, David, this reject, this failure of a son that never won a world title like his legendary father did, couldn't fill the Sammartino boots. So what does Bruno do now? Bruno now says, you know, maybe I'll do some commentary and maybe I'll say some nice things about my kid because nobody else in the world is gonna. Next thing you know, Bruno Sammartino's there with Jesse Ventura. Bruno Sammartino's there on all these telecasts. Bruno Sammartino can't stay away from professional wrestling. Now it's time for people like Zbyszko. It's time for people like myself to make our reputation, to maybe become a legend like Bruno, like a Ric Flair, like a Lou Thez, like a Harley Race, like a Hulk Hogan. It's time for us to make our imprint on this sport. And what does Bruno do? He's getting the headlines again. He's coming to Philly for this. He's coming to Philly to see his kid win the title. So I said to myself, yeah, there are a few things that I like to ask Bruno Sammartino. No, this is not going to be a typical Danger Zone. It's not going to be the manager basher, Paulie Dangerously, the guy that laid out Jim Cornette and got 14 stitches in his head. It's not going to be the manager basher that laid out Paul Ellering. It's not going to be the manager basher that laid out Diamond Dallas Page because I can't fight Bruno Sammartino. But I can have a nice, pleasant, one-on-one interrogation of Bruno. Because there are a few things that I need to know about the guy, and I'll tell you straight out right now, Joel Goodhart, I know how sneaky you Pennsylvanians are. And Sammartino has been living in Pennsylvania for what now, 20, 30 years?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you told me once before when I was down there for that luncheon, by the way, the restaurant was real nice, I got to give it credit, okay? What's the name of the place?
Champs.
Yeah, where the jerks meet to eat or something like that?
You got it.
Okay. And you said to me, you said, you know what your problem is? And I said, yeah, I got a lot of them. Why don't you enlighten me on one of them? And you said, you know, you can't go on radio and insult people because it's not like when you do it on TV. You know, it's just like it's not even funny. People don't want to hear it. Well, you know, that's just too darn bad. Because as far as I'm concerned, Philadelphia stinks. And the only thing good about Philadelphia is that it's probably the second worst city in Pennsylvania, and the worst one happens to be Pittsburgh, and that's where Bruno Sammartino lives. And I know how sneaky Italian people are. I know how sneaky people from Pittsburgh and anybody from Pennsylvania is, and I know what Bruno's up to. He accepted this danger zone because he's going to interfere in that title match because David has never been able to beat Larry Zbyszko, the real Sammartino's son. He may not be Bruno's blood, but he's a real Sammartino. See, he has filled Bruno's shoes, his boots, his everything, his galoshes. So I tell you what I'm going to do. I have spoken with my attorney. I've spoken with Larry Zbyszko's attorneys. I've not been able to reach the man himself. But I am telling you right here, live, this is an exclusive. This is for you, Scoop Goodhart. I am right now live on the air telling you that if Larry Zbyszko says it's okay, and I'm sure it would be with him, he's the world heavyweight champion, I'm going to be his policeman. On that show, I will walk out to the ring with Larry Zbyszko, and I'll stand in his corner with my telephone. And if Bruno Sammartino tries to interfere in that match and win that title for his kid David, I'll show him why he's retired, and I'm a 24-year-old psycho yuppie.
Well, Winter Challenge 90 is coming Saturday, January 27th at Temple University's McGonigal Hall. And since we've got Paulie Dangerously on the line, and he's kind of advocating that he's going to be coming out with Larry Zbyszko, good old Ike, my producer, gets a hold of Bruno Sammartino.
Huh?
Bruno, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
He's there? What's he doing there?
I'll tell you what I'm doing here. I've been listening to everything that you had to say.
You heard everything I had to say?
I heard everything that you said. And let me tell you something, okay? Sure, I know Paulie Dangerously, and I know what a corrupt-minded jackass that you've been and you are. And I'm going to tell you something. I agreed to do an interview. Hey, I really hesitated. I really wasn't even interested. But I'll tell you why I agreed. Number one, because coming to Philadelphia is a treat for me because I love Philadelphia. I wrestled there for 22, 23 years, and the fans there have always been fantastic, and it was an opportunity to meet with the fans again. Number one. And number two, yes, my kid is wrestling Larry Zbyszko, and I was curious to be there. I wanted to be there to watch the match and to root him on. But I want to tell you something, okay? I have never interfered with my kid's career. That was his thing, and so be it. However, there's one thing I will not put up with. I will be in Philadelphia since you made it so clear. You made it so clear that you're going to be in Zbyszko's corner. Then you bet that I'm going to be in David's corner for one reason. If David can beat Zbyszko, I don't want no interference. If Zbyszko beats David, so be it. He's a big boy now, he has to take care of himself. But I'll be darned if I'm going to watch my kid get beat as a result of you interfering in any way, shape, or form in helping Zbyszko out. So let me just give you a fair warning. I will be there, and I will not interfere under any circumstances. Like I said, if David's man enough to win his match, good. If he's not, then he'll get beat. But one thing, it'll have to be strictly between him and Zbyszko and let the best man win. Any interference from you, Paulie Dangerously, let me assure you that Bruno Sammartino can take you and break you in two. So let me give you a fair warning that, yeah, you can be in Zbyszko's corner, but don't even make one attempt to interrupt in that match. Because if you do, I promise you, you will deal with me.
Oh, no, legend. I would never do something like that. I'm glad that you'll be there because this is finally a chance for me to match minds with a real wrestling legend. It's about time somebody said to you, you know, Bruno, I know you can beat me physically, but can you do it mentally? I'll match strategies with you.
That's okay. Strategy's fine. Just there's no interference in that ring. That's the only thing.
I would never,
because
ever
I don't want my kid to be concerned about wrestling a champion. You're right, because Zbyszko is the champion today, and he is a tremendous wrestler despite everything that's happened in our in our lives. and I will not discredit him as to what kind of a wrestler he is and so forth. However, in wrestling him, I don't want any distractions because it's going to be big enough of a job for David to take on a guy like Zbyszko without having to be concerned about somebody in the outside being a distraction that in turn could make him lose his concentration and perhaps contribute to a loss. So that's why I will be there. If you're man enough to stand out there or sit out there and just be a cheerleader, if you will, that's legal and that's fine. But more than that, and I promise you, it will not be acceptable, and I will be there and I will do something about it.
I didn't know he could hear the show, man. This isn't.
Well, you said something about Pennsylvanians being sneaky, and you know, and all I can tell you is Bruno wanted to hear your comments today, and he heard them.
He could hear me.
Well, he heard them. This show is heard all over this area. And let me tell you something. The main event, which was just normally going to be Zbyszko against David Sammartino, has suddenly become Larry Zbyszko, accompanied to the ring by Paulie Dangerously, against David Sammartino, accompanied to the ring.
Jim Cornette beat me up. I can't fight Sammartino.
Oh, that's easy. You don't have to fight Sammartino. All you have to do is keep your nose clean. Keep your nose out of their business. Just stay where you're supposed to, and there'll be no problem. All I'm telling you is stick your nose in, and your nose is liable to go down your throat.
Oh.
All right, we'll be right back. Hold on, Bruno.
Hold a minute now.
What?
A 280-pound manager? He's killing my stereotype.
We'll be right back here on Rasslin Radio.
You know, this is the Iron Sheik world heavyweight champion, Iran, Europe, all over the world. But anytime I'm in the Philadelphia, I rest into the radio, especially that radio Joe Goodhart, whatever his name is, and I care about wrestling.
Sunday, January 28th, 12 noon, champs on Roosevelt Boulevard. AWA heavyweight champion Larry Zbyszko. Or maybe by then he just might be former AWA champion if David Sammartino has anything to say about it the day before. Sunday, January 28th, 12 noon, a very special luncheon with AWA champion Larry Zbyszko. Make your reservations now by dialing 745-8315 for our luncheon with Larry Zbyszko.
Hi, this is Pat Summerall. Keep your tools working for you by storing them in a rugged 20-inch Master Mechanic toolbox. It's just $9.99 as the January True Value of the month at True Value hardware stores. This sturdy toolbox is roomy enough for large and small equipment and features solid brass hardware and a lift-out tote tray for easier access. In January, get the Master Mechanic toolbox for just $9.99 while supplies last at participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
Next weekend is the weekend, our Baltimore weekend. The Squared Circle Fan Club heads south to Baltimore, Maryland on Saturday with our video bus leaving at Wanamaker's at 10 a.m. and the Airport Marriott at 10:30. At 2:30 in the afternoon, our luncheon with Rick and Scott Steiner. The Steiner brothers, the NWA World Tag Team Champions, make an appearance for the Squared Circle Fan Club. Saturday night, we sit ringside for an NWA card of professional wrestling, and on Sunday morning, 10 a.m., our breakfast with the Stinger. That's right, Sting reappears for the Squared Circle Fan Club. All this in Baltimore, Maryland, next weekend. Make your reservations now by dialing 745-8315 for the NWA card, the breakfast with Sting, the luncheon with the Steiners. Be there next weekend, Baltimore, Maryland, with the Squared Circle Fan Club. Winter Challenge 90, Temple University's McGonigal Hall, Saturday, January 27th at 1 p.m., benefiting Variety Club of Philadelphia. Scheduled to appear, AWA heavyweight champion Larry Zbyszko defends his belt against arch enemy David Sammartino. In a battle of the Bam Bams, returning to Philadelphia, Terry Bam Bam Gordy goes up against Bam Bam Bigelow. The feud continues. The Russian Nightmare Nikita Koloff goes up against the Raging Bull Manny Fernandez. In a special dog collar match, the Junkyard Dog goes up against number 1 Paul Jones. In a stretcher match, the loser must leave the ring in a stretcher. DC Drake against Larry Winters. In the Broad Street Brawl, a rematch too hot for South Philadelphia, Johnny Hotbody goes up against Tony Stetson. And in a special added attraction, a live Danger Zone with Paul E. Dangerously and his special guest, the living legend Bruno Sammartino. Call 745-8315 for ticket information for Winter Challenge 90. Be there.
Hello, this is the boy gone bad, the WWA heavyweight champion, undefeated. And I listen to Rasslin Radio with Joe Goodhart on WIP.
He got that spot a while back. He's now defeated. He's an ex-champion. All right, you're listening to Rasslin Radio. Wait, see, I'm getting all excited here. You got to call the Winter Challenge hotline, 745-8315, and make your reservations now. And
morning.
Paulie, if you could just hold on 1 second, I want to thank Bruno Sammartino for taking time out of his busy schedule to call in and listen to what you've got to say, Paulie. And Bruno, I know next week we'll have you on the air here talking to the fans of Philadelphia, and I'm looking forward to spending an hour with Bruno Sammartino.
It will be my pleasure because, as I said before, Philadelphia is a town that I wrestled for 22, 23 straight years. I love the town. I love the people there. And I'm really, really anxious and looking forward to coming there, Joel.
All right, Bruno, we'll talk to you next Saturday, and we'll see you on the 27th at McGonigal Hall.
I'll be there and ready.
Thank you, Bruno. All right, the living legend, Bruno
Is he off
Sammartino.
the air?
He's off the air now.
He's lucky he left when he did, because I was just about to lose my temper with him.
Well, we're going to take some phone calls from the
great... it's one thing, I don't mind showing respect to a legend, but, it comes a point where I'm going to have to, like Corrente, I like that Corrente. He stands his ground. I'm going to have to do the same thing. I'm from New York. We can't back down to Pennsylvanians.
The hell you can't. We go to Northeast Philadelphia, and Ross, you're on 610 WIP.
How you doing, Joe?
All right, how you doing?
Pretty good.
All right, what can we do for you?
What does he want?
How you doing, Paulie?
I got my own problems. Don't worry about me.
With the Four Horsemen, Joe, I predicted Arn, Ollie, and Rick will turn on Sting before Easter.
Well,
Here's what he thinks. Do you realize Sammartino's going to beat me up?
I have a feeling that Sting might turn on the Three Horsemen. I don't know if the Horsemen are... Shut up for a minute. Ross, go ahead.
I think Sting will stay good, and the other three will turn bad.
All right, so you see the Horsemen turning, huh? Well, I'll tell you, it's funny, now that you see Woman coming out and kind of scouting Ric Flair, you kind of wonder if she's not going to get involved, and if she does, if Ric Flair isn't going to find his way back to his old ways of being, quote-unquote, a bad guy.
Yeah.
But we'll keep watching and see what happens.
Okay, Joe, with that Royal Rumble, who do you think's going to win that?
Haven't the foggiest idea and almost really don't care, except last year's Royal Rumble wasn't that bad. Who do you predict?
I think it'll either be the Ultimate Warrior or Roddy Piper.
The Ultimate Warrior or Rowdy Piper? Well, I'll tell you what, we'll do a show probably next week or the week. Actually, next week. The Royal Rumble's next Sunday, isn't it?
Yeah.
We'll talk next Saturday and see if we can't come up with some predictions. We'll mark you down for the Warrior or Roddy Piper.
Okay, thanks.
All right, we thank you for calling.
Okay.
Hey,
All right, take care. Yeah, go ahead.
Now, wait a minute. Did you say that Ric Flair might be going back to his old ways?
Well, yeah, I'm of the opinion he really never left his old ways.
Do you think maybe, just maybe, if I paid him enough money, Ric Flair would come in and be my bodyguard so that Bruno Sammartino won't beat me up? Because everybody knows how much Ric Flair loves me.
Well, I can tell you one thing. I think that at McGonigal Hall on the 27th, you just might have a whole lot of fans coming out to see nothing more than possibly Bruno getting his hands on you in that match. So I would kind of keep it down if I were you.
I don't believe it.
Bruno might be listening.
Why?
Bruno might be listening.
He heard everything I said.
Bruno might hear everything you say.
He heard every word I said. Oh, my God.
We go to Oxford Circle, and Frank...
This isn't funny, I'm in big trouble.
You're darn right. Frank from Oxford Circle, you're on Rasslin Radio.
Joe, long-time listener, first-time caller.
Hey, what took you so long to call?
Tough to get through.
All right.
I have a question for Paulie.
Sure.
Okay. Let me tell you something. You should give that man, Bruno Sammartino, respect. Here's a guy who's two-time WWF champion, probably the greatest wrestler that ever wore wrestling tights, and you sit there and you want to belittle the man. I hope he gets his hands on you and he does a number on you.
Oh, yeah? Well, you coming down to see
I have tickets and I'll be there.
Oh, you will?
I mean, you should show a little respect. He's the greatest wrestler that ever put on wrestling tights, and I think you know that, okay? I think you should show him some respect. Anyway, Joe, I want to talk about Winter Challenge 90 a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you see the Sammartino's the best
I get a rebuttal?
renewing itself?
Well, it's very honestly, it's a feud that's never really died down. It's just very few promoters have been able to coordinate getting, David Sammartino and Larry Zbyszko together. And obviously, as Sal Corrente mentioned earlier in the hour, this is the only second time in 10 years that both Bruno and Zbyszko have been in the same building. And trust me when I tell you, I didn't perform any miracles. There were a lot of promoters out there trying to get it done, but just were not able to.
Right.
I got it done, and it looks like all heck's going to break loose that day. And
that's right. It's going to be a great card, Joe.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun, and hopefully the fans come out and support it.
Okay.
All right, we thank you for calling.
How about a couple of them tickets for WWF next week?
You got it. I'm going to put you on hold. I'd like the producer will take your name, and courtesy of Reinhardt Carpet Outlet, you're going to be sitting at the Spectrum next Saturday.
Joe.
All right.
Let me ask you another question.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you. I just thought of it. He bought tickets, right?
Who?
That guy.
No, he just won a pair of tickets.
To the show?
Oh, you mean to our show? Yeah, he bought a pair of tickets.
Okay. Now, let me just throw this one at you, okay? Now, you got to be really objective on this. If absolutely not one person shows up, you'll have to cancel the show, right?
Wrong.
No. I mean, not one. I mean, nobody. I mean, like not one person. You have to. I mean, there has to be like there's a
to you this way.
Okay, hold on. Let me just say this. Hold on. Wait. So if everybody boycotts, I can't get beat up. That's it. But you see, if everybody comes, he's going to beat me up, right?
That's pretty obvious.
Okay, so like if everybody comes and you can't cancel the show, then Bruno Sammartino is going to beat me up.
You're in a whole lot of trouble.
Hold on,
my
I'm
Lord.
out now. Because if absolutely nobody comes, and if people boycott this, then I won't get beat up, and like then I'll just owe everybody a favor. How's that? Okay, so if nobody comes, if nobody at all shows up, then I'll just owe everybody a favor, and I'll say a nice thing about Philadelphia on the radio. And if everybody comes, I'm going to get beat up, and I'll never forgive you.
Paulie, you're in so much trouble.
A boycott.
You have no idea.
We can organize a boycott.
You're so far down. You're. Oh God, are you in trouble? Oh my Lord.
Boycott.
Well, you're just in trouble.
If nobody shows up, then I don't get beat up. But if people show up, I'm in big.
Let me explain that about 800 to 1,000 people have already bought their tickets. I mean, they've actually paid for their tickets.
Already?
All right. Now the building holds 3,900. All right. And obviously we're hoping for a sellout, but we've already got about 25% of the building bought.
Already?
Already. Therefore, unless you can convince 1,000 people to throw their money away,
okay,
you're in like real. You're in trouble.
Do you think like maybe half of them are listening right now?
I think they're all listening, and now after what you've just said, I'm convinced that.
Before you, let me just ask you this: could I buy like 30 seconds of airtime for you and just like make a public service announcement on behalf of myself?
Yeah, but you got to pay cash because I heard about your checks.
That's okay, you know.
Go ahead. You got 30 seconds.
All I want.
28 seconds.
Just let me do this.
24.
Hey, no interruptions here if I'm going to pay for it. Everybody in Philadelphia or wherever you listen, South Jersey, wherever you listen, Delaware, wherever you listen to right now, just remember one thing, okay? I'm the most honest guy in professional wrestling. And if I can sit here and tell you that I'll say something nice about Philadelphia and I'll owe you a favor and I'll repay it, you know I will. Because I have never let down a client before in my life. Look what I've done for the Small Spot team. Look what I did for Austin Idol and Tommy Rich. Look what I did for Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. Look what I did for the original Midnight Express. I'm just telling you right now, if nobody shows up, you boycott this show, which means that I won't get beat up by Bruno Sammartino. I'll owe you all a favor. Say something nice about Philadelphia. May not be on the radio in Philly, maybe on the radio up in Boston, but I'll say something nice about Philly somewhere. But if you show up and you buy your tickets and stuff, Bruno Sammartino is going to beat me up. I mean, I couldn't even beat up Jim Cornette. Bruno's going to kick my butt. Let's be honest. So don't show up and boycott the show. And hey, I'll owe you a favor. Say something nice about Philly. That's my offer.
You're listening to Rasslin Radio on 610 WIP.
Hi, I'm Ron Simmons. When I want to know everything that's happening in the world of professional wrestling, I listen to the best. I listen to Rasslin Radio.
I want to tell you about West Coast Video at Belgrade and Aramingo, and we've been talking about them now for months and months and months about their wrestling collection. Well, they've improved it. They have something they now call the Davis Collection, and now they've got all new wrestling tapes. If you haven't been in West Coast Video in the last couple of days, they've got a lot of tapes that they haven't had before. They even have I Like to Hurt People. They have tapes of the Jim Crockett Senior Memorial Cup, the Best of Starrcade from 83 to 87. They've got WrestleFest. They have the wrestling's living legend, Bruno Sammartino. They've got the Danger Zone. They got Wrestling Gold. They've got films of Hulk Hogan against Jerry Lawler. They've got films of Terry Funk against Harley Race. They've got Austin Idol against. They've got everything at this West Coast Video. Belgrade and Aramingo, 426-8744. You can stop in and say hello to Lovable Larry or Giddy Gary. And this West Coast Video, now they've got, well, they doubled the size of their wrestling collection. So if you're looking for the best in wrestling videos, all you got to do is go to Belgrade and Aramingo, West Coast Video, the phone number 426-8744. They've got even a tape of Dick Slater against Dory Funk Jr. Great, great stuff. Manny Fernandez against Nick Bockwinkel. They've got some of the best wrestling videos, 426-8744. That's the West Coast Video at Belgrade and Aramingo. While you're there, you can put an order in for your tickets for Winter Challenge 90 at Temple's McGonigal Hall. But remember, only one West Coast Video cares enough for the wrestling fans to give you, the wrestling fans, the best in wrestling videos. Puerto Rican, Memphis, Japanese, NWA, WWF, the West Coast Video, Belgrade and Aramingo, 426-8744. Wrestle War, Greensboro, North Carolina, Sunday, February 25th. The Squared Circle Fan Club will be ringside Saturday, February 24th through the 26th as we head to Greensboro, North Carolina for Wrestle War 90, The Wild Thing. Dial for Wrestle War, The Wild Thing. Winter Challenge 90, Temple University's McGonigal Hall, Saturday, January 27th at 1 p.m., benefiting Variety Club of Philadelphia. Scheduled to appear, AWA Heavyweight Champion Larry Zbyszko defends his belt against arch-enemy David Sammartino in a battle of the Bam Bam. Returning to Philadelphia, Terry Bam Bam Gordy goes up against Bam Bam Bigelow. The feud continues. The Russian Nightmare Nikita Koloff goes up against the Raging Bull Manny Fernandez. In a special dog collar match, the Junkyard Dog goes up against number 1 Paul Jones. In a stretcher match, the loser must leave the ring in a stretcher. DC Drake against Larry Winters. In the Broad Street Brawl, a rematch too hot for South Philadelphia, Johnny Hotbody goes up against Tony Stetson. And in a special added attraction, a live Danger Zone with Paul E. Dangerously and his special guest, the living legend Bruno Sammartino. Call 745-8315 for ticket information for Winter Challenge 90. Be there. Sunday, January 28th, 12 noon, Champs on Roosevelt Boulevard. AWA Heavyweight Champion Larry Zbyszko. Or maybe by then he just might be former AWA Champion if David Sammartino has anything to say about it the day before. Sunday, January 28th, 12 noon, a very special luncheon with AWA Champion Larry Zbyszko. Make your reservations now by dialing 745-8315 for our luncheon with Larry Zbyszko.
Okay, this is a stinging one. I want to know everything that's happening in the world of professional wrestling. I listen to Rasslin Radio, and that dude Ike ain't such a bad guy.
Yes, he is. All right, you're back here at Rasslin Radio. Again, the Winter Challenge hotline number 745-8315. Leave your message, and I'll get back to you with reservations for Winter Challenge 90. Paulie, you are in trouble. You are in trouble. The people are calling, wanting to make reservations to see Bruno beat the living pants off of Paulie dangerously. So much for your 30-second spot. It was very, very effective. Very effective. We're going back to the telephones, North Philadelphia. Dave, you're on Rasslin Radio.
Hey, Joe, how you doing?
All right, how you doing?
Good. Question I want to mention to you. A couple of weeks ago, I mentioned about the Great Muta not defending his title.
Yeah.
And as we saw, I saw the Power Hour last night. Arn beat him for the belt. And if you notice the trend, Four Horsemen are wasting any time getting belts right away, as you had mentioned.
Yeah.
Also, on the house shows last couple of months, if you notice, the wrestlers really haven't been putting all out. As you mentioned, the best match last month at the selection was Kevin Sullivan against Hector Guerrero, for example. If you notice on TV, the matches are really competitive. And
Well,
really
see, I'll tell you, not to defend it, but I went to Baltimore the next day and saw almost the same exact card as in Philly, and it was 10 times better. And again, the crowd down in Baltimore was about 3 times the size of Philly, and most people just don't understand that the wrestlers, even though they're paid to do what they do, the wrestlers do respond to a crowd, and Philly's crowds have been low, and that's why they're not coming back here till April, till they kind of reduce Philadelphia. But in Baltimore,
I think maybe they'll be low for the thing, and then Bruno won't have to beat me up. We can cancel it.
Paul, I think you're barking up the wrong tree. This show is on. You're under contract. You're going to be there. You're in trouble. All right, but I'm talking to Dave from North Philly, and I just think that the wrestlers respond to the crowd, and when the crowd is there, the wrestlers respond, and it's a vicious cycle. But I'll tell you, these guys are now wrestling 4 days a week instead of 7 days a week. They're on a Thursday through Sunday type schedule, and I think you'll see the action begin to kind of regroup itself as the guys are now a little bit more rested, and we'll come back to the city in April, hopefully with a good, strong card, and hopefully we'll come back and the fans respond, and the wrestlers will respond at the same time.
Joe, one last thing.
Yeah.
I'll definitely be at World Challenge 90.
Super.
Oh, didn't you hear my plea?
I have 3 tickets. Me and Tom are going, and someone else.
Super.
And I don't know if I can have 2 tickets for next week for the Spectrum.
You got it. I'll put Ike on with you, put you on hold, and you're the winner of a pair of tickets courtesy of Reinhardt Carpet Outlet.
Okay.
All right, we thank you for calling.
Thanks, sir.
Take care. And Dave from North Philadelphia.
Didn't you hear my plea?
Yeah, everyone did. That's why they're going. All right, we're going to go to a mobile phone. Mike, you're on Rasslin Radio.
Joel, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Doing okay.
I have a question which goes back a while. Not that I don't want to talk to Paulie, but, I prefer to talk to people with intelligence. What exactly did happen with the Crockett's?
Well, the bottom line, it was basically just a business decision. Somewhere along the line, the Crockett's ran out of cash. They started borrowing some heavy-duty money, and when Turner Broadcasting saw the opportunity of buying the Crockett's out, it's basically what they did. The Crockett's still have a minority interest in the NWA. I've heard numbers from 10 to 20%. But realistically, the NWA is now owned by Ted Turner and TBS Broadcasting. There's about 7 hours of television that the NWA broadcasts, a lot of which is on TBS, and it just made business sense from Turner's position to go out and buy and just acquire the NWA, which is exactly what they did. But I think the Crockett's were, without degrading them, the Crockett's were just what you and I might consider country folk, and when they were competing against New York and Titan and Vince McMahon, it was just they were going after something that they just were not ready for. And I think there was a combination of factors, a lot of management problems, money problems, television problems, and Turner just stepped in and made them an offer they couldn't refuse. I think it's as simple as that.
Who is actually running the wrestling show?
Right now, Ted Turner has the bottom line, but the man in charge of the NWA is a fellow by the name of Jim Herd. And Jim Herd is the one who basically makes the everyday decisions, but the final decision is always Ted Turner.
All right, because it just seems like, it got away from the way the Crockett's were doing it with, all the interference in the matches, and it seems to going back to that kind of.
Well, I'll tell you, wrestling is a funny kind of business. It all works its way down from the top, and if the top wants certain things to happen, it kind of filters its way down. The wrestlers obviously are aware of what management wants. Management is obviously aware of what the wrestlers want. And again, it's all pieces of a puzzle, kind of like a business. The best executive in the world will tell you that he's only as good as the people he surrounds himself with. So I think it's a combination of factors, but the Crockett's just simply got out because they weren't over their head.
All right, can I get a pair of tickets next week?
You got it. I'm going to put you on hold, and courtesy of Reinhardt Carpet Outlet, you got a pair of tickets to the WWF next Saturday.
Thanks.
All right, thanks a lot. We'll put you on hold. All right, Paulie, you're in trouble. I see it coming. I have a call even for you. How's this for you? Northeast Philadelphia. And Allison, you're on Rasslin Radio.
I'd just like to say something to Paulie Dangerously.
You got him.
Paul, I had a lot of respect for you. My friend and I did. But I hope Bruno Sammartino kicks your butt.
Oh.
And you ain't going to get no respect from the people in Philly.
Are you from Philly?
Yes.
Oh. I like Philly. It's a real nice town.
Too late now, Paul.
Oh, it's too late?
Yeah.
So in other words, the show's going to go on?
Show is on.
Allison.
Yes?
Get a pretzel with mustard and stick it in your nose. How's that?
I'm going to stick it in your face.
Allison, thanks for calling.
You're welcome.
All right, take care. Paulie, you're in trouble.
I'm calling Larry Zbyszko.
You're in trouble.
I'm calling Larry Zbyszko.
Ventnor, New Jersey. Michael, you're on Rasslin Radio.
Okay, Joe, how you doing?
All right, how you doing?
Okay, Joe, listen, in regards to your trivia
Is this
question.
Brando? The guy's... hello?
Yeah, in regards to your question, don't pay no attention to that pencil back there.
Okay.
Your trivia question, one of the places nobody mentioned was the Hotel Philadelphia.
Well, I'll tell you, there were a couple of places. The Hotel Philadelphia, Channel 48 was one of the buildings that we were looking at when they used to do the live television from Channel 48.
Right.
The WWF also did 14 matches at the Blue Horizon.
Right.
So there were a number of...
Yeah, Hotel Philadelphia, when they first got UHF in, around 1965, and they had those bouts there from the Hotel Philadelphia. It's when Big Bill and Miller was around and those guys.
Fantastic.
And I got one trivia question for you.
Sure.
Who wrestled as the Batman in the mid-60s?
Who wrestled as the Batman in the mid-60s? Paulie's usually pretty good on that.
Tony Marino.
He's right.
Tony Marino.
How's that?
You know what? He must have known somewhere in my house. He must have been in here, and he heard me talking about it.
I didn't know you talking about it. You know how I know these things? Because I am a modern-day Einstein. I'm not the kind of jerk that calls up a wrestling show and has nothing better to do than buy a ticket to a show to see Bruno Sammartino beat up a 175-pound professional wrestling manager.
Well, Paul, he'd come up to you and say hello. You're stuck for an answer. Everybody knows that. Joe,
hey, we thank you for calling. Take care. All right, we got a bad line there, but Paulie, you are in trouble. With us now on the conference line, one of the up-and-coming stars in the sport of professional wrestling, one of our fan club members who's going on to bigger and better things and is now working as a wrestler, Rockin' Rebel. You're on Rasslin Radio.
How you doing, Joe?
Hey, all right. How you doing?
Okay, I just got one thing to say besides my match about Paulie Dangerously. He says Philadelphia stinks. Well, Paulie, let me tell you right now, there's nothing that stinks about Philly except you blabbing your mouth in the Philadelphia air. How's that sound, buddy?
What is it with you people? Why is everybody so upset today?
Because there's nothing wrong with Philly. Philly's a great town. I'm from Philadelphia, the Rockin' Rebel. You got to understand there's nothing wrong with us. There's something wrong with you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, Rockin' Rebel is going to be in one of the matches on
Who's he wrestling?
He's going to be wrestling Joey Maggs.
I hope Joey Maggs steps on his guy's head.
Well, I'll tell you.
Why don't you come out to the ring and why don't you see if he does? And if I get
I
through
got
him, why
enough
don't you
problems
step
of my
on
own,
the rope?
thank you. I need to be watching your match. I got Bruno Sammartino looking for me.
Hey, everybody's going to be against you. Why not bring a couple fans with me to the ring?
You want to go out to the ring with me?
Yeah, I'll go to the ring with you when I'm going through Joey Maggs.
Now the guy wants to defend me. First he's defending Philly, now he wants to defend me. Oh, God.
Oh, boy, I can see this thing getting out of hand. I'll tell you, the Rockin' Rebel goes up against Joey Maggs.
Zbyszko's number still busy? Hold on, call him again. Call him until he answers the phone. Get an emergency breakthrough. Zbyszko's number still busy.
Maybe he just has your phone off the hook.
Oh.
And he doesn't want to talk to you. Maybe he doesn't want to help you get out of this box that you
Hold
put
on,
yourself
call
in.
his private line.
All right, but anyway, I'm talking to the Rockin' Rebel, so let's give him a minute of time.
Call his private line.
All right, every time we do a promotion here, we try to get some of the young and up-and-coming talent in the area to give them their shot. Norristown Ford, we had one of our fan club members who started in the sport, and he was able to go on to be victorious in his first match. Rockin' Rebel, I know you've been feuding against Joey Maggs down in Georgia and the Carolinas and Mississippi, and we're bringing the match up here to Philadelphia to kind of have you strut your stuff in front of your hometown fans.
That's right. I'm glad Mr. Maggs had finally signed the contract. He's been avoiding me for about 4 months now. And I think if I get the fans behind me and we get the crowd going, I think I can pull off a victory.
All right, well, we're looking forward to it. Again, that's one of the matches at Winter Challenge 90, Temple University McGonigal Hall, Saturday, January 27th at 1 o'clock. And Rebel, we look forward to seeing you there.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And that's the Rockin' Rebel, Philadelphia's own, and one of our Squared Circle fan club members that's going on to bigger and better things. And we're going to go back to the telephone. Springfield and John, you're on Rasslin Radio.
Hi, Joe. How you doing?
All right, how you doing?
Joe, I can't wait to see this Winter Challenge 90, but I got a feeling that David Sammartino is really going in as an underdog, because I kind of remember him at the Spectrum. He wrestled a preliminary wrestler from King of Prussia. He got beat pretty bad in that preliminary match. He didn't really have a submission hold when he did wrestle, and he only had the power suplex, and he had to set his opponent up to do that. Do you have any comments on that?
Well, I think there's no question David's going in as the underdog.
Of course he is. I'm going to be in Zbyszko's corner.
But I think that, when you see David Sammartino today, he's certainly a lot different than he was a couple years back. David's coming in, really riding the tide of the feud that Bruno has had with Larry. There's a lot of hatred. And, sometimes skill is not necessarily the only thing that you need to beat a wrestler. Sometimes emotion will do it for you. And there's no question.
And strategy.
David has got to wrestle at 125% to be in the same league as Larry Zbyszko. And with Bruno in his corner, you never know. He just might be able to rise to the occasion.
Jeez, Joe,
probably in the fear.
I think that Paulie just might have cost Larry Zbyszko his belt, Paulie.
I wonder how David feels, though, because he would have to have his father in the ring, outside of the ring with him, just to have a shot at winning the title.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, David signed this contract originally to go up against Larry Zbyszko one-on-one, and there was no contract signing that Bruno was going to be his manager or anything like that. David has met Larry before. He has not been victorious, but has taken really Larry Zbyszko to the limit. Some of the matches have ended with disqualifications, Larry getting disqualified in order to save the belt. I think the reality is that this is one of those matches that if you're not going to be a Winter Challenge 90, you're certainly going to miss something. And I just hope you're there to cheer on Larry or cheer on David or whoever you're going to side with. But it's a match where emotions run high.
I will be. Hey, Joel?
Yeah.
Can I get a shot at those tickets for the Spectrum?
You just got them.
Thank you.
See how simple it is? I'm going to put you on hold. They're courtesy of Reinhardt Carpet Outlet at Green Street and Queen Lane in Philadelphia, and you're winner of a pair of tickets. All right? Hold on 1 second. All right, there's where.
I got an idea.
Yeah.
All right, I got an idea. Now, wait a second. All these people calling up and they're getting like 2 tickets to the Spectrum, right?
Wait. Let me just put you on hold for a second. You know why you haven't been able to get through to Larry Zbyszko?
Why?
Because I got through to him. Actually, Ike got through to him. Larry, are you there?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, thank God, it's him.
Larry Zbyszko, the AWA heavyweight champion. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
All right. Well, we've been talking all day about this match coming up at Winter Challenge 90 here in Philadelphia on Saturday, January 27th. The match between Larry Zbyszko and David Sammartino. And Paulie Dangerously is on the line, and he's been trying to reach you and hasn't been able to get through.
I don't think he's got my number.
Well,
Z.
I know.
Z. What a problem I got now. Listen to this. I came on the air. I said, well, I knew that no good Bruno, who never treated you right, Larry. He always shortchanged you. That Bruno, since he was going to be in the building that night, he was going to try to do something to interfere in the match to cost you the title to that other schmuck David, right? So I said, right on the air. Hey, if Larry Zbyszko wants it, hey, I'll come out to ringside and be his policeman and watch his back so that Bruno will not interfere. And then Bruno came on the air and said he's going to watch me, and he's going to be there to make sure that I don't interfere, and he's going to beat me up in case I do anything.
Well, that's a typical Sammartino type of stunt, always trying to convince people that he is such a model of a human being and a man. So this David Sammartino Bruno thing is what caused Bruno's backstabbing of me in the first place. It was because of his own flesh and blood, because David would never be as great as Bruno's protege, which is Larry Zbyszko. They say the pen is mightier than the sword, brother, but that's only in a world full of wimps. When we get in the wrestling ring, I am the heavyweight champion of the world. I'm the one that challenged Hogan and proved that he was a steroid clown coward. I challenged Flair, and he ran for a year and a half while I was in the NWA and up here. And if you take a look at David Sammartino's life, I mean, he's been blackballed from everywhere because he's an emotional maniac. The kid's a hot-tempered, uncontrollable, and you talk about disqualification, Georgia. He's the one that got disqualified because the kid's a nut. And the reason he's a nut is because of me, Larry Zbyszko. I am David Sammartino's frustration. I am Bruno Sammartino's embarrassment because I have got to the point where I am bigger and better than the old man and the son will ever be.
Wow, that's saying a whole lot. And again, with us here on Rasslin Radio, we only have a minute left.
I told you Larry would handle the situation the right way. He's the champion of the world.
And, I like the idea of Paulie being there because I don't trust Bruno ever since it's been over 10 years ago, and the man has never once called me, tried to contact me, tried to make amends. So I think it's a good idea that someone watches my back.
There you go. You see, I knew you'd handle this right, Z. You're the champ. That's why you're the champion of the world.
It's not easy being a legend, Paul.
I know it's, but you carry the weight well.
Yeah, it's a dirty job. I have to do it.
All right, again, you're listening to Rasslin Radio here. We're talking about Winter Challenge 90 coming up Saturday, January 27th at Temple's McGonigal Hall with a 1 o'clock start. The main event, of course, Larry Zbyszko, accompanied to the ring by Paulie Dangerously, going up against David Sammartino, accompanied to the ring by Bruno Sammartino. And Larry, I know we had some trouble last week trying to get together. I do thank you for calling into the radio show. We were glad to get a hold of you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you 2 weeks from today at McGonigal Hall's Winter Challenge 90.
Well, I tell you what, you can look forward to the end of the Sammartinos once and for all.
Larry, we thank you for calling. All right, now is Larry Zbyszko, AWA Heavyweight Champion. Paulie, you still there? All right, Paulie, we've got about 20 seconds. I do want to thank you for calling in and obviously helping in ticket sales with your trying to get the Philadelphia fans to boycott this card.
Let me just tell you this. I hope everybody in Philly buys a ticket because what you're going to witness is Paulie Dangerously and Larry Zbyszko come together and finally drive the Sammartinos right out of Pennsylvania through Delaware and probably down to the Carolinas, and they can live with the Crockett's for all I care.
And one thing I got to say to you, Paulie, and last word, goodbye. And that was Paulie Dangerously. And again, he'll be down here 2 weeks from today, Saturday, January 27th, Winter Challenge 90, McGonigal Hall. All you got to do is dial 745-8315 if you want to see Paulie Dangerously get his butt kicked by Bruno. It's going to happen here in Philadelphia. Winter Challenge 90, Temple's McGonigal Hall. Just want to remind everybody tonight, Woodbury, New Jersey at the Woodbury National Guard Armory, the WWA card with Patty O'Brien defending his belt against Boy Gone Bad and a host of other matches. Johnny Hotbody trying to get his belt back from Jungle Jim and a whole lot more. That's tonight at the Woodbury National Guard Armory, 8 o'clock, the WWA. Stop on down. You'll see a good card of professional wrestling, independent style. Again, you're listening to Rasslin Radio. My name is Joel Goodhart. Next week, we will have Bruno Sammartino on with us for the entire hour. We'll also have a couple more pairs of tickets to give away, courtesy of Reinhardt Carpet Outlet. Many thanks to Freddie Reinhardt for giving us those tickets to give away to you today. Again, you're listening to Rasslin Radio, the #1 talk show on this station. I don't care what anybody says. WIP stands for Wrestling is People, and we'll see you Winter Challenge 90 2 weeks from today, Temple's McGonigal Hall, 745-8315 for reservations. Make your reservations now. Winter Challenge 90, 215-745-8315 for Winter Challenge 90.
610 WIP, Philadelphia, All Sports Radio.